Okay. Oh.
I don't even see that one. Anyways.
We are on cam. Yeah,
okay.
Dude.
We'll talk about it later then.
No, we're not talking about later. We're going to talk about it right now. Tagged you in a great tweet, putting out your outright bet that you like at the Shriners Children's Open. And, it was you, it was Jason Sobel. Jason Sobel RT'd it probably within like 10, 15 minutes after he thought about it. And you're clearly still thinking about it, but it's all good. We're getting some numbers on it because of Sobes. Anywho, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to a Wednesday edition of the Slate. It is damn good to have you here. I am Emerson Latzia. He is Jeff Ulrich. We got AC on the ones and twos. We got producer Eamon behind the wheel trying to keep us on track. We're going to talk some Shriners Children's Open. They've changed the name of this thing like 4 times, like Shriners to like Shriners Open to Shriners Children's Open to Shriners Children's Hospital for Children Hospital Open. It's very confusing. So
yes, they have. I was talking about this with someone yesterday, and all my articles this week, I had to go back and double check. First, I put Shriners Children's Hospital Open, and then I thought, oh, it's just the Shriners Open, but no, because last year was the Shriners Open. This year it's the Shriners Children's Open. The year before that, I'm 90% sure it had hospital in it. Just pick one. Just pick. I don't care. Just pick one, please.
I think the easier and more the simpler it is, the better it's going to be. Just say Shriners Open, dude. Just go Shriners Open. Really, really easy. Anywho, we'll do some bets. We'll do some DFS picks for that coming up, everybody. But let's start in the NFL. So there was big news earlier today. Jeff, I think it was kind of expected for Thursday Night Football. Like, we knew the Broncos are without their starting running back now the rest of the season because he has torn his ACL. But on a short week, the Colts are saying, hey, Jonathan Taylor, we love you. You're kind of a big deal. You're kind of good at football. We don't want to mess you up right now this early in the season. So he will not play tomorrow night, although he said he wanted to play.
Yeah.
So how did that impact the line movement at all? Did it? I haven't paid too much attention over the past few hours. I don't know if you were able to notice anything.
Yeah, no, it looks like, the thing is, I think everyone was expecting Jonathan to play, Taylor not to play. The line hasn't moved at all. And I think with most, like a lot of running backs, you'd say, okay, it's just a running back. It's not that big a deal. But Jonathan Taylor is a running back who I think like potentially moves the line. But what this is telling me is that everyone was expecting Taylor not to play. And quite frankly, it makes sense. I wasn't expecting Taylor to play either. I actually would have been surprised. I was actually surprised it was even coming down to that, but like to an announcement. But yeah, the line hasn't moved at all. It's moved between 3 and 3.5 all week. And it's at 3 right now. It's a little bit of juice on the Broncos at -115. But like the money is not necessarily flowing into the Broncos either. There's a few more bets on that side of the ball, which you'd expect, I think. But like right now, these are just two teams that the public doesn't trust for what I'd say mostly good reasons. The Broncos, the Broncos, I still feel like going to be a very good second half team, but I do get why people want to beat on them right now. They've beaten themselves in at least 2 games, it feels like. So
you've been a big Broncos believer for most of the early portions of this season. Like, you were even giving Pierce a bunch of crap earlier today because he said fade everyone, fade everybody in this game, and you were like, whoa, Pierce.
Here's the thing. Let's talk about this game because like the Broncos last game, they lost obviously, but like, it had absolutely nothing to do with Russell Wilson, who had his best game as a Bronco, 124 quarterback rating. He completed like over 75% of his passes, had some great throws. He had a receiver drop the ball late in the game on 4th down. He had Melvin Gordon fumble a ball for a 68-yard fumble return touchdown for the other team. And then his defense just kind of fell apart against the Raiders. I mean, getting hurt as well. These are all things that you can't control as a quarterback. So I think it's very like, again, the problem going into last week was kind of, okay, can we get the offense going? Can Russ take a step up? That happened. But now there's new problems. Melvin Gordon, like, you can't cut him now because Javonte Williams is hurt. So you've got to ride with the fumble prone running back or Mike Boone, who can't catch a ball. The defense is banged up with Randy Gregory. Is that going to become a liability? I still think there's enough talent on that side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, the Broncos are going to be good. And that's why I feel like people have probably, I get why people are being cautious about the Broncos, and they don't want to say this is a good spot for the Broncos. They're banged up. Now we got to trust Melvin Gordon, but this is still a pretty good team. And it's Russell Wilson versus Matt Ryan. Maybe 5 years ago, you could have convinced me that this was close battle, but Matt Ryan stinks right now. And
he does.
He's a retread.
They've been terrible on the road, Jeff. They've been terrible on the road. Them having to lean on Matt Ryan for a team that's been awful on the road. I totally expect Matt Ryan to have mostly a very rough night tomorrow night in Denver.
Yeah, and he's got Michael Pittman to work with, and that could make things interesting. Maybe those two kind of turn back the clock. Maybe Ryan turns back the clock.
Broncos will 100% zero in on him, which I think who's that? Alec Pierce? Is that the other wide receiver for them? He should get plenty of opportunities to shine.
Yeah, that's their second round draft pick from this year. It might have been third round draft pick. I can't remember, but they picked him higher up in the draft. And they've got a few other targets out there, Paris Hilton, Paris Campbell. Jesus Christ, what am I doing?
What the hell have you been doing? Watching something weird on Netflix lately?
No, I've just. I called. What did I do? I called Paris Campbell. T.Y. Hilton, T.Y. Campbell or something once too. I can't get the.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, you just topped that.
Yeah,
you just topped that.
Paris Campbell. Has been coming to life a bit, but realistically, the Colts' path to winning this game is Michael Pittman taking over. But you've got Patrick Surtain. Look, the main thing is I think you it's okay to go to the Broncos here. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Russell's coming off his best game. Jerry Judy's in fantastic matchup. The Colts are banged up on defense too. No Shaq Leonard in there. That's going to help Melvin Gordon. One less person for him to fumble the ball to. So, I think Jerry Jeudy, KJ Hamler are going to have a good time against the secondary, which has not been good, especially against slot receivers. I just think it's going to be a little bit too much to ask. At 3, if you said, wow, it's 3, I'm going to stay away. That's fine. But I do like the Broncos. I think this one should be 3.5. So small lean towards the Broncos there. There's definitely some props that I like for this game as well. So,
yeah, they've both been two of the worst teams though in the NFL to wager on, at least throughout the early portion of this year, because they're both 1-3 ATS.
Yeah, no, absolutely. ATS, the Broncos have been a bit of a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't cover last week when they were coming in as underdogs, and you kind of felt that was a good spot for them to prove themselves as an elite team, and they crapped the bed. And then week 1 they had that they were overvalued week 1. Let's admit it, but. They did get the cover against San Francisco, which is another tough team. So you give them credit. They did have one nice cover there, but they've kind of let us down in 2 spots already. Although week 1, I would say that they were definitely overvalued. And if you're betting them there, that was probably a mistake. But I think the Broncos will be a good second half team. I'm going to stick to that, and maybe it'll start tonight against a Colts team that without Jonathan Taylor on the road here, maybe they put up a fight, but I'm not going there.
What's Pierce's receiving yards total?
Alec Pierce is 2.5 reception total and then 34.5 receiving total.
Okay, so the receiving yards total is would that be a good bet going over that in your eyes, thinking that maybe this defense does hone in a little more on Pittman? And let me see, because I had some notes pulled up earlier. He's shown some pop here because his big plays that I wrote down, they've gone for longs of 30 and 44 yards the past 2 weeks. Yeah.
So it's definitely not a bad idea. My problem with the Colts receivers are where is the ball going to go other than Pittman? It's a bit of a guessing game, and I'm not sure that I necessarily want to play that game.
Okay.
If we're looking at the totals here in a sec, then Pierce at 34.5, we're going to have to get a big play or two out of him. I would probably look to my guy, Paris, don't call me Hilton Campbell at 22.5. It's just a low total. And
okay.
He was the projected sort of number 2 to start the year. Snap count wise, he's still kind of been second fiddle for most of the games. His snap count went down a little bit last week, and Pierce has been pretty stable, but I still don't see a scenario necessarily where where Campbell isn't like the number 2. So he's going to be on the field a little bit more, and that's a pretty low prop he's got. Pierce is definitely coming on with the targets. I would lean Campbell there if we're going to take an over. I just think that's a really low total. And I think you're right to think like, where else is the ball going? But the other thing is like, I actually do not have a problem taking Michael Pittman's over at 66.5. I actually think that's an okay play. I would probably rather do that than go to Alec Pierce, who, the Broncos have 2 good the Broncos have a good secondary. It's not just that they're going to try and hone in on Pittman. I think they could shut down Alec Pierce on big plays, and that would actually force Matt Ryan to potentially go to Campbell more for like short outlets pass, which is kind of what he's been used more. So I actually like the over on Pittman. I've also got Cortland Sutton up there over 4.5 receptions. That's probably my favorite prop. I don't even mind that juice. Sutton has been moved around formations. He's been used differently. He's been used in the red zone. He's been used around the middle of the field. And with no Javonte Williams, I can't see his target share going down necessarily, especially with the team not having trust in their other running backs. So I think Sutton over 4.5 receptions is fine. And I think Pittman over 66.5. We've got 2 alpha receivers here. Let's trust them in the spot. I think that's what you have to do.
I like your Sutton call, because I was thinking him more for like paying up for him, like in DFS, like his captain, because he has been Wilson's like go-to option in the passing game. So he's got 19 catches, 291 yards, really has a chance here for his like second 100-yard receiving performance of the season, because according to PFF here, the Colts grade out as one of the weaker coverage units in the league.
Yeah.
And Broncos here potentially relying more on the passing game, as you just mentioned, with Javonte Williams out, and maybe not trusting Melvin Gordon like a whole lot back there. Although Melvin Gordon now is going to dominate any catches like out of the backfield. Although like as long as Latavius Murray like doesn't chew into it like too much, which is crazy. Latavius Murray just played in London last weekend. I believe had like 50 yards rushing or something like that, and even a touchdown for the Saints.
Yeah. It's really weird.
It is weird, right? Because he was called up just because Kamara was banged up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, okay. To your Sutton point, like let's talk about him first. I agree. I mean, this Colts secondary, it's Stefan Gilmore isn't what he is.
No, like I said, he's nowhere close to what he was when he was with the Pats.
No, like that player's long gone. They've been moving Sutton around too. So, if he gets some looks out of the slot, which could happen, like that's been a really good place to attack the Colts. But, his target share is up there with the elites right now. You look at it last week and you say, wow, he only had 52 yards, but that game against Vegas was weird for a number of reasons. Like the Broncos did not have the ball much in the second half. And when they did have the ball, though, they were moving it. Sutton still 7 targets, he's been converting well. Finally got his first touchdown. I said like his red zone usage has been fine. He just hadn't converted for like 3 games. And then, the other player here is Jerry Jeudy. And I didn't bring him up for props because I think he's more of a boom bust. If I was going to take an over on Jeudy, it would be yardage, but I do prefer the Sutton overs far more to Jeudy. But I like Jeudy for DFS, especially for big fields. We saw Christian Kirk out of the slot go for 2 touchdowns against this team. Jeudy isn't like necessarily like only a slot receiver, and Hamler's back as well. So I could cut into some of his snaps there, but he's definitely more of a slot receiver, and we'll certainly see usage there. I think it's a good spot for Jeudy to potentially break out with like a 100-yard game. It would not shock me at all if that ends up happening. Wouldn't even shock me if he ended up like outscoring Sutton by a decent amount, just for the simple fact that maybe he gets a couple big plays, or maybe the touchdowns go to Jeudy in this matchup. So kind of high on both Denver receivers. And if we want to translate all this talk about Denver receivers too into like props, which is what you should be doing. We go to passing props for Russell Wilson. Ooh, and this line's moved. Like, I mean, it was like plus 105 this morning. It's now minus 105 to go over 1.5 touchdowns. So I think without the plus money, I still like the over there. I do. But it's not as good a line as it was at like plus 105, obviously. So take that into account. But that's another, that's certainly a passing prop I don't hate today.
Yeah. I mean, whichever receiver, if you decide to put one in your captain spot, you absolutely need to pair him with Wilson, as the Broncos could have like tons of success here through the air, because Gus Bradley runs that like zone heavy defense. And so But Sutton here, 16 plus points in 3 straight games. And to your point, like when Pierce this morning was like, fade all the Broncos, fade everyone in this game. To your point, Wilson is coming off a 27.5 DK fantasy point performance and did have 2 touchdowns to go along with rushing for a score last week.
237 yards on 25 attempts. And I'm telling you, the Broncos barely had the ball in the second half of that game. Josh Jacobs took over. So, like, I get it. I mean, the Broncos have been a weird team, and they've played in some weird games, quite frankly. The Seattle game was weird, too, because in Seattle, they had the ball the entire second half, and they couldn't score. And then last week, they didn't have the ball the entire second half. And then, the San Francisco game, okay, that was ugly. But 2 good defenses. I don't know. I think that the Broncos defense probably stiffens up a bit, but I also think that, like, I'm not going to bet the total tonight for the simple fact, though, that
it's tomorrow night. The game's tomorrow night. You keep saying tonight. It's tomorrow night. And I know you're in a different time zone, and you're just a weird dude in general, but it's tomorrow night. It's Thursday night.
I'm just in a different time. I mean,
all right.
In the future.
You clearly, you and Paris Hilton and like this time zone thing. I don't know what the hell is going on.
If Paris Hilton shows up at the game tomorrow, pal, you'll feel really stupid. But no, 42 points. I like normally I'd understand, you've got a couple, like a little bit of struggling offenses with 2 running backs out, but I also think that with the running backs out, like, this game could open up quite easily. If I'm betting anything for the total, like, it's the over.
Really?
The defenses are banged up. Like, the Broncos pass rush isn't going to be as good. Like I said, Shaq Leonard being out has really hurt the Colts, I think. And their secondary is going to go up against 2 elite receivers. So I actually I'm almost leaning towards where the over is probably going to be a bet to me. Like, I kind of like the Broncos in the over. Although I kind of just want to bet the Broncos, but I think that this game will be a little bit more open. I mean, you've got 2 teams also, like, pretty in desperate need of a win, where they're not going to be able to grind clock with like their high end running backs. They're going to have to go and have their quarterbacks win the games. And I think that's what's going to happen. I just trust Russell Wilson way more to do that than Matt Ryan right now. So, yeah,
I'd also consider rostering that Broncos DST if you going to submit a lineup into that Millie Maker tonight, which there is one on
tonight. You did it.
I said tomorrow night. You want me to say tonight. That's because you're thinking it's tonight. Don't put your thoughts in my head. Okay. Don't do that.
All right. I'll go back and check the tape later, but
it's $15 to get into the Millie Maker tomorrow night. So wait a minute. AC said I 100% said tonight.
Thank you.
That's what I get. Karma's a bitch. And that's what I get for giving you absolute crap for doing that, because Denver is average. They've allowed an average of 9.5 points per game. And not to mention the Colts offensive line has allowed the 5th most sacks, which is 15 through 4 weeks. And do not sleep on Hines in the backfield now, right? Now that Taylor is out, because I'm telling you, Matt Ryan's going to be panicking multiple times. He's going to be crapping himself. There's going to be a turd running down his leg, and he's going to end up just dumping it off to Nyheim Hines, who was fantastic when we used to comment on Sims here on the Dream Stream. But I'm telling you, a 6-catch game is not out of the realm of possibility for Nyheim Hines tomorrow night, and he's $6,800.
Did you say a 6? What did you say?
A 6-catch game is not out of the realm of possibility.
Game. Sorry.
No, Jesus, I'm not that stupid. I'm stupid, but I'm not that stupid.
Yeah, no. Look, I agree. Like, Hines is.
Thank you.
The funny thing about Nyheim Hines is, he was getting talked up preseason. Oh, we got to get the ball in his hands. And I guess he has popped up with, like, over 5 targets in 3 of the first 4 games, but it's like nothing special really in terms of usage. But I do agree. Like, Hines he's going to be popular for DFS, but hard to trust anyone else on the Colts, right? Like, your guy Alec Pierce, he's more of a YOLO play. If you get that long touchdown out of him, great. If you don't, you're probably not going to have a good night with him. Paris Campbell's only 3,600, but even with him playing a lot of snaps, I mean, he's seen less than 4 targets in 2 out of 4 games. I think that could change a little bit with Taylor out, but he's also competing for targets with Hines, with Pierce, with some dude who like popped up and I can barely remember his name last week, Grayson. I can't remember the dude's last name, but anyways, the Colt after Michael Pittman, it just becomes like, yeah, there it is. Grayson, 32 on Kylan.
There you go, dude.
I was about to call him
Kylan, dude.
Kylan.
KG, dude.
Yeah, who's popped up with over 4 targets. So I mean, Grayson and Campbell are essentially getting the same usage. So after Hines, it becomes like a very big guessing game of where the ball is going. You know, you could even see Mo Alley Cox show up with like a touchdown here or something like that. Or their other big dude, this guy is going to be an awesome player, by the way, Jelani Woods, who is just an absolute freak. He's like 6'7", 6. He might even be 6'8". He runs like a 4.6. He's just a freak. And I would not be shocked, by the way, for DFS. I would not be shocked if the Colts decided to really unleash this guy tomorrow, because I got it right. Because what else do they have right now? If you're going into Denver, you want to catch the Denver Broncos off guard, you put Woods out there, you put him on like 70% of the snaps, and you say, just go. Run down there. You're getting like 8 targets tonight, kid. And if you come down with like 4 of them or you break a play, great. If not, don't worry about it, because Jonathan Taylor's out. We need this game. Will Frank Reich do that? Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. But it is interesting for DFS. He is absolutely capable of doing something crazy. I hope that eventually this guy gets into a lead role, because I'm really excited to see what he can do. But
yeah, I like that call. And Steve mentioned it yesterday, I think during our like larceny bourbon hit. I'm talking about talking about how this team loves to use like a 2 tight end set, not to get like too sportsy here, but in a game where Matt Ryan could potentially be running away from Denver defenders quite a bit and potentially like taking sacks, like a tight end is going to be a useful option here. And I don't know what his receiving yards prop was. I think it was something low when I looked at it earlier, 18.5, 19.5, talking Mo Alley Cox here. So last week, ran the 3rd most routes of any offensive player on the team, tied with the most target, led the team in receptions and yards last week as well. And he's seen an increase in his snap percentage each week this season, culminating in a 70% snap rate last week.
Really low props. 18.5 yards, obviously you got to pay massive juice to take the over on the 1.5 receptions. Probably don't want to do that, but the 18.5 yards.
But his receiving yards, what is that? That's what I was talking about.
Yeah,
I was talking about his
18.5.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super low.
There it is. Okay. Yep. Sorry.
And I mean, we mentioned off the top, like when you're talking about Pierce, I mean, I would rather look to like a Mo Alley Cox or a Paris Campbell, because it's not guaranteed where the ball is going, but you're right in saying like Mo Alley or Paris could easily get 4 or 5 targets. And at those low yardages, I mean, like they're probably going to go over if that happens.
Dude, so. Don't these just feel like some of these props here for Colts players, like they just feel like really low bars to hit?
They do. Like, and the problem is,
what is Zach? Is this just because the Colts just may abandon the run game like early on now? Like,
well, no, the problem is the Colts. There's just so many, like after Michael Pittman, the ball has just like, there's been no guarantee. I mean, Mo Alley Cox had 6 targets last week, and you're right to point out like his usage is going up. And I actually expect that to continue, but he's kind of doing nothing before. And then you also have Jelani Woods now taking a couple targets, but then the wide receiver core, after Pittman, like Pierce kind of did nothing for a couple weeks, then popped up. Campbell's been on the field a lot, but he's not really earning a ton of targets, which is bothersome. And then Kylan Grayson. By the way, Kylan Grayson at 1.5 is like, I think we got to hit that over. I mean, we just talked about his usage, and that's the thing.
We're all about the overs with these props.
But this is the trap. This is why it's a trap, and you shouldn't play over them all.
Yeah.
And we're trying to obviously decipher like what is better and which spot is better. I mean, I like the reception prop on Grayson. For the simple fact that, he's earned targets. I mean, as a receiver, if he's not playing that much on the field, but he's still earning targets, that's a big thing. And we just saw Campbell's snap count will go down. So that tells me Grayson is earning more field time. He's earning more reps from his quarterback, and it's probably going to continue. So I'm actually surprised to see that prop there. You know what? Let's pare this down for the people. I already said I like going over Michael Pittman's yardage. The Mo Alley Cox one, that's probably the other one I would play there. But I honestly, I don't really want to touch the tight ends. I like this Grayson prop probably second. I don't really want to trust Campbell. he's just not doing anything when he's out there and he's playing a lot, which is never a good sign, in my opinion. I think if you're playing Colts receivers, don't overthink it. Don't get too fancy. Pierce is the big play threat. Maybe play him like longest reception if you want or something. But yeah, I would just play Pittman, to be honest. He'll probably get there. He's probably going to get like 10 targets. So.
All right, we got less than 10 minutes to go and show. You're talking about dudes not to overthink when it comes to betting Thursday night football, which is going to be tomorrow night, not tonight on Wednesday night, but tomorrow also Shriners Children's Open. It tees off here, dude. So let's dive into some bets. Let's dive into some DFS here. Patrick Cantlay, bro. Patrick Cantlay, a heavy favorite out there in Las Vegas. Not a heavy favorite, but he's plus 600. He's the favorite. Sung JM plus 900. Homa plus 1,400. Aaron Wise plus 1,800. Tom freaking Kim. He won the hearts of America in the President's Cup. He was playing for the enemy. Okay. And I am all on board the Tom Kim hype train this week, dude. Yeah, I certainly am. I'm not saying bet him. I'm just saying I really like him. Okay?
Yeah, fair enough.
Don't listen to my advice, but just, hey, top of the board. We can hit on him very quickly because I like to hit on the favorite in all these tournaments. Cantlay's got a damn good track record here, Jeff. Like, is this number, though, good enough for you to bet to win outright?
No, definitely not. I don't even know what circumstances I'd have to bet a golfer at plus 600 in a full field event. I mean, this might be it. Like, Cantlay is just super dominant at this event. He comes to like the Amex every year and just blows the doors off and usually gets in contention, but it's just too short a number. He deserves to be the favorite, but like I'd have interest in Cantlay if he was at Sung JM's number, and I'd have interest in Sung JM if he was at Max Homa's number. But these guys are kind of just both priced down because I mean they're both past winners. They're both clearly the most elite players in the field. So we can. This is let's start over too. Like this is the type of event where we've seen a Marty Laird win at 250 to win, 250 to 1. We saw Kevin Na win at a pretty decent price. I think he was like in the 60s, and he just gained a ton of strokes putting. So this venue, it's really easy. It lets a lot of players kind of come in and have a chance because the greens are easy to hit. And if you start sinking putts when the greens are easy to hit, you just get a lot of birdie chances. So it's just not really an event where I would ever look to the favorite anyways.
Okay. Like, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I'd be going, no, I'm not. I'd go Matt Neesmith, top 20 at plus 300 odds, T18, T8, T14 record here in 3 trips to TPC Summerlin. And he's coming off a T9 at Sanderson. And I know you're all about that because you said it earlier this week on the show. And I said, this guy never backs me up on any of the incredible odds that I throw out there and recommendations, but you did this week. No, so it's top 20. I think you're in like the top 5 or top 10. I was talking to top 20. It's a whole separate tab.
No, top 20 is
it's plus 300 odds for him for top 20.
We'll just take your word for it. It's plus 300.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, if you want to go bigger on Neesmith, it's plus 700. But yeah, no, look, Neesmith as a placement bet makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I necessarily want to like back him in the outright. There's a lot of other players I think just have a little bit better upside than him here, but consistency wise, like his floor for fantasy too looks really good. He's priced up in a range like close to Adam Hadwin, yet his odds just don't really they're a lot bigger for some reason. So I think it's good to take advantage of that. You can almost look to DFS and say, well, for DFS, like this is a player whose odds are obviously close to Hadwin, but like I'm getting way bigger odds. So it makes sense. It's really
Neesmith 7,500. Yeah, $7,500 Neesmith is in DFS. That's incredible for a guy who has an awesome history here.
It's a lot of different things with him. It's a good setup for him. Great iron player as well. So it's coming off a good week. There's not much not to like there, but there's other players in this range. I mean, that are worth talking about. I'm not sure where Russell Knox is this weekend DraftKings.
Dude, I saw his name thrown around somewhere too. And I was like, Russell effing Knox? Like, what's that about? He's been playing great as late or something? Every once in a while he pops up. No. Did he?
I don't see his name.
I got this, guys.
Oh, there he is. Oh, wow. My God. Russell Knox is plus 13,000.
Okay.
Those are terrific odds on Knox. I really like those odds. I did not realize he was this big on DraftKings. I think again, we're talking top 20 odds. This is a really good player to take. Russell Knox almost won this event in like 2015. Wow, I did not realize why is he this big?
My guy's getting thirsty here. My guy's getting thirsty.
Yeah, no, I mean these are this is a really good placement bet. Again, like Russell Knox, much like Neesmith, can he get hot enough with the putter to win outright? Maybe, but like as a top 10 bet at plus 900, those are really fair odds. And like we're gonna have to go down. Where is your top 20 odds? Why is Russell Knox
top? What are you talking about for Russell Knox? Just click find. Click find. Do you know how to do find?
Tell me how to use my computer.
I'm just saying it's there. He is right there.
Plus 350. So he's a little bit bigger than Neesmith. Neesmith is plus 300. Okay.
Yeah.
Get it? It's fine.
Yeah, dude.
Those are both good top 20 bets. I like it. You know, you could bet both. You get paid off on one. You're well in the profit. You can even look to both. Even in the top 40 market, you know, just as standalone bets, you're going to get like plus money on both these players. So, very solid.
Okay,
yeah, Russell Knox plus 130. Neesmith is going to be very similar to that. So
wait. You did plus 130 for what for Knox?
For a top 40. Top 40.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I think that's a great bet. I really do. His iron play is really good. He's actually been gaining strokes putting. Like I said,
good course history here, dude. Good course history.
Great course history.
About it now.
Yeah.
Finished third here in the past, playing some great golf right now. So he's finished top 25 his last two starts. Completely switched up his putter and putting stroke. Okay.
Yeah. Those are two top 40 bets.
All right. So his off the tee stats, which are usually a strength, have taken a dip.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is there a certain part of a game that guys need to be good at on this course, Jeff?
That's the thing. Like it's thin air in Vegas, so he's going to get a bump in driving distance. You do it. I mean, you don't want to be so inaccurate that you're hitting into the desert, but
yeah,
Knox has played this course a lot, and he typically is like okay off the tee here. So this is probably a spot where the off the tee game isn't going to hurt him as much. And if as you asked, like the really important factors here are if you can be hitting it. A lot of people are going to have good green and regulation percentages, even if they're just hitting it okay. But if you can hit a lot of greens and hit it close, that's where you gain your biggest advantage. Because not only are you getting birdie chances every hole, but you're getting close birdie chances, and that's what Russell Knox is good at. His proximity has always been his best attribute. So, yeah, just sets up well for the course.
All right, before we get out of here, just give me your best bet here for the Shriners Children's Hospital Open. What's your best bet? It could be outright. It could be anything. It could be something we already talked about. Just label it your best bet for me.
I mean, I think we went over some good placement bets. I do like that price on Knox. I was expecting plus 800 on DraftKings. I don't know why that one didn't register with me earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Probably just because
I wonder what you're going to be doing after the show.
I'm looking. Well, I don't. Yeah. Anyways, that's a whole other discussion. But okay. So there's a couple. Let's throw out two things. Okay. I do like Bo Hosler as an outright play this week. He's at plus 13,000 as well. He is just an elite putter, just absolutely elite. He's played here a lot. If Bo Hosler is going to win an event on the PGA Tour, it's going to be at a lower scoring event like this. I like that. He's got good course history. He's coming in off of just consistent results.
Yeah.
I think that's a long shot bet. Well worth taking. At the same time,
he's in the bargain bin too in DFS, just in case anyone wants to know.
Yeah. Yeah. And for DFS,
yeah.
If we want a little bit more talent and we want someone, I still will stand for Cameron Davis here. He was third at the Amex in Palm Springs 2 years ago. He's just a dude who makes a lot of birdies. He plays shorter course as well. He's going to be able to just bomb it out there off the tee on every hole and have like 100 yards in. He's coming off the President's Cup where got to play with this guy, Adam Scott, got a big win in the team event, a couple of big team points. Ken Davis is going to win again on the PGA Tour. He's really good. And if it's this week, it won't shock me at all. And I think plus 4,000, extremely good odds. He should not be double Aaron Wise. I like Aaron Wise. He should not be double Aaron Wise and Tom Kim.
Okay.
not.
And then in this course, again, go back to kind of your thin air comment. It suits his skill set of just crushing par fives and just reeling off birdies on easier layouts too.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen bombers do well. Matt Wolff, Bryson, even Cantlay bombs it out there, man. Like, these guys, these big players who are more refined. And I would put Cam Davis as like a pretty refined player right now. Not only do they hit it far, but they can do the rest of it and convert these huge drives into scoring chances, which is,
Okay. All right. Well, that's it because we got to go. We're running tight on time because Titans versus the Eagles next in Simland, which in real land, Eagles are the last unbeaten team in the NFL because Trevor Lawrence wanted to lose 4 fumbles against them last week.
Oh man, don't take it too bad. Come on.
No. Seriously, they have. Someone was talking about it today. I think an odds maker was talking about it today. The Jaguars played the best 9 quarters of football like in NFL history between the Colts, between the Chargers, and then the first quarter against the Eagles, and they're at 14-0. Anywho, we got to go. Jeff, love you. Great job today, dude. Appreciate it. Producer Eamon, AC on the 1s and 2s. Love you guys too. We're back in studio tomorrow morning, live edition of The Sweat. We'll see everyone there at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Bye.